One and a two and a long box funk. Long box funk. Long box funk. Long box funk.
Happy November, viewer. I'm Chris in the Longbox Punk, and we are here for a brand new live stream. I have got a guest that I've been trying to get on here for months. Duke Electric, my man. Thanks for hanging out with me, putting on the fancy fuchsia. I was going to wear my purple suit, and then I thought it's not going to look nearly as good as your pink one. So I just left it, threw on my purple shirt. We've got our colors, and we're all set to go, man. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Sunday. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to finally talk to you in this realm of digital media.
Right, instead of just like via text or messenger or whatever, like here we are, we're live in person. We're going to be getting into all sorts of stuff. We've got your comic with the shiny, be jealous people, with the shiny cover of Greg. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, you've been in bands before, you're a music creator, you're doing all sorts of stuff. But first, before we get into any of the nitty gritty things, I want to know, like, what's your origin story? How did you get into comics? Like, where did creating and all this stuff come from for you?
Cool. Yeah, I just grew up, my dad was a collector, so I kind of was introduced that way. My cousins were really into comics, so when I'd visit them, they would kind of just like give me the lore on things and get caught up. I got really into the stuff because I grew up in the 90s, so, Batman animated series, Spider-Man animated series, X-Men animated series, toys, everything was just, pushed towards kids at that time for superheroes and everything. And I just kind of got into it. And that also led me to start drawing. I kind of found my talent of drawing, which I would do a lot in school for fun. And yeah, that just built into everything that I do now, whether it's music or art or work, just lots of art.
Yeah. Do you create as part of your like regular 9 to 5?
I work with creators, and
Okay.
I make sure that their creations get done and are done in a timely manner, basically.
Got it.
But I would love one day to do my own creative stuff as my 9 to 5.
Sure.
That's the goal.
That'd be the dream, right? Like, just let me create and still make my regular salary, please. Like, that's what I want. I don't think it's too much to ask.
Definitely.
Was there also, as a child of the 90s, I was super hung up on X-Men, obviously were top for me, but also like Gargoyles and the Mighty Ducks and like all of them. We had the best cartoons of any generation that could ever live. I think, was there a character that stood out to you, or like an episode or something, or like one of those moments that happened on one of the shows that you were just like, I can't, whoa, like, did you have any of those moments?
Yes, I'm trying to like think of one off the top of my head. Obviously, X-Men would always have cliffhangers. Batman animated series had those like really dramatic cliffhangers, and you're like, oh god, like, there's a Two-Face one. It's like his face got blown off by an explosion. Like, oh my god, we're gonna be live. I would say off the top, animated Spider-Man when he turns into the Man Spider. That was pretty sick. And then you're just like, where is this going to go from here? And the Punisher is trying to kill him. Like everything, it was pretty epic back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you could release anything back then as a toy or a product, and they're like, okay, we have to have an animated series for your tie collection or like whatever. Like, it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. And it's weird because those waters were muddied too, right? Like because obviously we had all the action figures. I had a bajillion, like I had an LL Bean backpack just full of action figures. And if I did a sleepover or whatever, I would grab that backpack and then, get to my friend's house and dump all mine out, and he'd dump all his out. And I'm sure there was cross pollination there happening. And I would leave with his and he'd keep some of mine and whatever. But every single show had an action figure, or vice versa, where it started as an action figure and then became a show. But a lot of them are based on comics, and like even Image had that really terrible Savage Dragon cartoon. Like I loved Savage Dragon, but my God, was that show just horrendous. And I think it was the voice actor for the dragon, because I always expect like he's this big badass dragon, right. And then you turn on the show and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna stop crime today," and you're like, "Oh, come on."
There was like some producer somewhere being like, "No, this dragon has to be the kid-friendly dragon. This is Chewbacca. Like, we gotta make it like hit."
Yeah, he's got to be friendly for the kids. And it's like, but in the comics, he's literally shooting people in the face. Like, what?
All those plushies. Come on, dragon bed sets.
Yeah, we're gonna sell this as a pillow, and you can, fold his wing mohawk thing over your head to darken the room. And it's like, shut up, dude, you're taking it too far. So, growing up with all of the is there a specific show or character that you feel influenced you, or like made you want to pick up the pencil and start drawing them?
I would say it would be those like top three, because I had those action figures like X-Men, Batman, probably Batman more than the others, but Spider-Man, they're close top.
Sure.
Batman just had so many action figures, because you had like Batman, scuba diver Batman, and like any molten lava Batman, and Batman hanging out on a Sunday with his feet on the sofa. And you're like, okay, cool, this is like my Batman. I would just sit and draw everything I had. And because my dad was like a collector, once he started selling like Spawn toys and stuff, I was kind of like, oh, well, can I just like get one of these? These look epic. Like those Todd McFarlane toys when they first came out, like they were so detailed and so different. You're just like, oh my God. Like I found one in my dad's place. I think it was like Night, like the one where like medieval Spawn or whatever. And I was like, this is just like crazy for that time. And the Violator too, you're just like, huge. Like, and still his toys are still like the top detailed. Well, I guess they're the most detailed that I can remember and see a lot of.
Sure.
But I know there's probably other toy companies now and stuff that are competing as detailed.
We're trying to. I couldn't name a single one, because I agree. It was always and now they're the retro action figures that are like, they have the waistband that you can bend and the arms are straight, but just come straight up and go back and that's all they do.
Yeah.
And that felt like a lot of the action figures. And then McFarlane started, and they had the huge cases that were like 6 inches off the shelf. And just, you're right, like had insane detail to him. And I was just like, I remember looking at him and my mom very specifically being like, "You're not old enough for those yet," and like pulled me off. And I was like, but it only made me want them more. I never had any of them, because then I looked at the price and I was like, oh God, I'm not.
They're pricey, especially because they'd have like 1 million guns, and then you'd have like chains because of Spawn, or just like set pieces. Like I had one of this like cape, but it was like wings, so like they like came out like wings almost, and it was just like, it was just crazy. I don't know how they managed to get so many toys like that out. But it's epic.
Yeah, I had Bloodhawk, the like red demon looking guy from X-Men 2099.
Oh, nice.
And he had wings, and he had the lever on his back that if you pulled the lever down, his wings popped up, and then you let it go and they drop right back down. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And you're like flipping the lever, making him fly. And I was like, that's not how flight works. But so fast forward then, like so you start writing, you start drawing, you're developing your all of the skills. Like, when did you first think about bringing Greg into the world? Like, where did this story come from?
So this was based on like a school project that I did in high school, like back in 2007. It was a non-traditional art class, and our teacher was like, yo, you guys got to do a comic book. And like, I was really into the idea of just like doing something, because I was like getting back into comics at that time, and like I lost all my comics through like floods and whatever previously, and so I was starting to get back into comics more, and Jack Black's like Nacho Libre movie came out,
Yeah.
and I was trying to think of like an easy idea to do. And so I was like, I'm just going to make like this wrestler guy and his buddy, and they're going to go to a bar, and then he's not going to be able to like pay for his drinks. And then they're just going to go out, and then the dude's going to get drunk and see this like lady, and like he's just too drunk, and he has like beer goggles, and then he can't, it's like, oh, to be continued type of deal.
Yeah.
And oh, that's Greg's night. Oh, womp womp. And so that was it. And then I had it like, it bugged me for a really long time because I was like, I want to continue this thing, but I was doing a lot of music at the time, and I was finishing high school and going into college, and all these different things were happening. And I was like, I just don't have time to sit down. And I wasn't like confident in my writing and drawing because I went to an art school. When I got into art school, my drawing side of my life got like shut down hard because we had like not great art teachers that were like, they're just there for the check kind of, and like they had like favorite students, but they weren't like, oh, like this is how we can improve your drawing, or like this is how we can like make things cooler or better, or like whatever. So it wasn't until like I got older and I got more into Photoshop and digital art that I was like, oh, this is really like actually just layers on layers on layers on layers, and if you make a mistake, just layer over the mistake and just keep going, like
Yeah.
So once I got that mindset, and my wife was really supportive too, because she found it in our basement, and she was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, that's a comic I did in high school for a project. And she was like, you should like keep doing this. And I was like, I know I want to, but like I can't, whatever.
Yeah.
And so while I was in college, I was still like thinking and working out a story to do like a first issue of it. And basically I came up with Greg's reason why I don't show his face, because the whole time I was like, I don't know what this guy looks like. I don't want to give him like an identity. I just want him to like, I don't want to draw his face because I hate drawing faces. I just want to have it to be a guy in a hood and like his buddy. And then I came up with the idea of him being really good looking while I was daydreaming and thinking about it in HTML class, which was really boring.
That's outstanding.
And then it was like a eureka moment. So I tried to like write, and like I tried different ways. I was like, I'm gonna like have a few drinks and write, or smoke a joint and write, and like try and see where it takes me. And
yeah,
I found just literally just sitting down and writing was probably
HTML class. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
because I wanted to talk about the artwork. And I'm not going to show too terribly much because I don't want to spoil anything, because people should just get this for themselves. But like the page layouts that you've got in this issue 0, and just the different feel of everything, immediately had me, right? Like I'm a sucker for an asymmetrical page layout, and you've got them all over the place, which I just really appreciate. But the way that you've worked in like story elements into like what could have been gutter space, or, like outlining a panel instead with words. It just is like, where did that come? Like, how did you come up with that approach to like your page designs?
First of all, thank you. Second of all, it's just kind of a method of my madness. I'm really into graphic design. So that was like my number one thing. And my biggest issue with comics, especially even modern comics and stuff, is sometimes you're trying to read it, and like I'm a bit dyslexic and I have ADHD. So when I try to read certain comic books, you get lost because you're like, oh, am I just going across like both pages here? Or am I going like here to here? And I was like, I want it to each page to flow, so it's going, okay, I'm going here and I'm going to end here. Yeah. And I find that like, I don't know if it's because of time, I don't know if it's just because of whatever, but I find a lot of comics don't do that as much, or there's just too much going on, and I get lost in comics, like especially like modern DC or Marvel stuff. I just get lost in where I'm supposed to go next, and then I'm stuck like rereading the page like 3 times, and I'm like, this is really annoying. But I really like it flowing, and I like it to flow like a movie. I like kind of trying to keep it like a TV show, or like something where you can just understand each panel, and you know where to go, and it's flowing. And that's really kind of how I like it. I also like splash pages, and I like trying to just keep things like I did when I did drawings when I was like 7, because I used to just draw like the whole page. And
Yep.
I find kids have like the easiest way of showing you their artwork. They're like, this is A, B, C, and this is like where I started, this is what happened, and here's where I ended. And
Yeah.
I'm following that. It just kind of makes things a lot easier for everybody, because
Yeah.
but it's just hard.
That's
And also too, like people, like I've mentioned it, they're like, you're using like a lot, you should just like simplify it so you save less money on your printing and pages. And I'm like, yeah, but like it's art, and I don't want to just be confined to the structure of how I'm supposed to do comics, or the schools are teaching people how to do comics. I just want to do my comic, and people like it. Like, if you like it, then great. And if you don't, then that's also great. But as long as you can read it and have a good time with it, like, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's the point is like, is it, in your voice, is it authentic to what you want to see in a comic and want to see on the page? Because I'm the same way. Like spoiler alert, I was not crazy about the Watchmen because of just the rigid page structure. And I know that goes into the storytelling and it's all whatever. It doesn't work for my brain, because I'm the same way, where I'm like, it just became white noise.
Yeah.
Like all of it, the dialogue. And I finished it and I was like, the hell did I just read? Like I have no concept of what I just read, because the whole time I was like, read the next panel, read the next panel, it just was an exhausting read for me. But so anytime that I'm, writing or thinking about the page layout for my comic or whatever, I'm also like, I don't want this to be, I never want to have 2 pages that look exactly the same. I want the layout to be different. I want the panels to be different, or no panels at all, or all, a splash page, or, a splash page with like an overlaid panel, something like that, just to break the monotony of what can be modern comics. And so I think that's probably part of why I enjoyed reading Greg so much, because it is just different. Like, even when I'm out at comic shops or bookstores or whatever, if I'm flipping through something, if it looks visually different than anything I've seen, there's like a 90% chance I'm going to buy it over another comic that I'm like, oh yeah, there's another mainstream comic. Like, cool. Awesome. Okay.
No, that's a perfect like example too, because it's just I do the same thing. Like, I do that with records too. Like, I used to, when records were actually affordable, I would go to record shops and I would just go into all the sections, and then I wouldn't even know the band. I would just buy something from like Argentina or Brazil or like Africa or whatever, and I'd be like, this is a cool album cover, I'm just going to buy it. And then I'd take it home, and 9 out of 10 times it was epic. I was only disappointed by one, which was a little bit expensive. It was called cell phone music, and it was people that found cell phones that had music on it, and then they pressed it on a record. And I thought it was going to be epic, because I was like, wow, like this is like a double record. Like, this is going to be so cool. Like, obviously it must be amazing if it wasn't good. I was high and smoking weed a lot, so maybe I was just in a bad state of mind. But I think it was, I wished I bought something different.
Yeah, that's fair. I used to do that when I was in college. There was a used CD store like right across the road from campus. So I would leave class, pop over to the CD shop, buy whatever, and like I was there every week, because I worked 3 jobs in college, so I got paid every Friday. And so I would go in, and it got to the point where like after first semester, the shop owner knew me, would set aside stuff for me. And it wasn't anything I was telling him. It was just like, hey, these CDs came in and I set them aside for you. Like, you don't have, if you don't want any of them, that's fine. But like, I just thought, based on what you're buying and what we've talked about, like, you might dig them. And half the time I really did. Like, he's the one that got me into We Are Scientists. And it was just because the cover looked different. Like, it was just the 3 of them holding the cats in front of them. Yeah. And he was like, I don't know. Like, what other band is doing that? I was like, I don't know, but I like cats, so I'll take it.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, if you have a band or even a comic and has good branding on like a good cover art, and you know that there's time and thought that went into it, and just, you know, it looks different than the rest, you're more than likely going to get someone picking it up. Because
Yeah.
like, and that's why I made Greg, the cover of Greg, this way, because I was like, I want it to be really 90s, I want it to be really flashy, and I want it to stand out on the shelf next to whatever it's next to.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I catch a lot of people off guard at conventions and stuff, because like my whole booth is usually just all pink right
That's
now.
awesome.
And so it's all pink, and then my product's all pink, and I'm pink, and you know, it just stands out in the crowd, you know, like
Yeah.
and it brings people in, right? So
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring up conventions. Speaking of things that just keep coming up, is like when you think about setting up for your convention, like was doing everything pink to be standout intentional, or was it just like, well, I wanted the cover to look like this, so I might as well just keep going with that, pushing pink everywhere?
it's a bit of both. I as you know, I play in bands and stuff, and like I'm really dramatic on stage, and I like to be very like seen and know that I'm in the band and I'm not a part of the audience and stuff. So like, you know, I've always been in bands where we all dress up, or we always like have some sort of aesthetic that, you know, makes it like an experience when you're coming to see it. And I find with comics, it's like, and I talk to my wife about this a lot, where I'm just like, we make comics that are so crazy and out of this world and just so imaginative and everything. And I find, and I mean no disrespect to any comic creators or anyone at Comic Cons, but I always feel just a little bit ripped off when I go to a Comic Con and then it's just some person there, jeans t-shirt, just on their phone, just whatever. And you're like, you made Batman, like you made this thing, like you made this incredible thing, and you're not even like dressed. And I you know, now I also like the history of broadcasting and different things. I always found that like when you wear a suit, it's just always good. Like it's just like a respect to the consumer and a you know, I guess the guarantee that you hopefully know what you're doing. You know, it's kind of like, hey, this is the thing. But I find, you know, and you see some of the old school guys at the Comic Cons, like I saw the guy that did Captain Canuck at Fan Expo when I was there, and he was in a suit, and I was like, cool. And I've been to a couple other events, and you can always tell the old school guys because they're in a suit and they look good, and like you look at their art and you're like, this is fucking awesome. Like this is you know, and it stands out, right? And you know, I think people would find more success at their tables if they just put like 2% more into just like the display or like themselves. And you know, and I know it's like a hard industry because it's a lot of just like people that are antisocial or just people, you know, or that just like art that's not them, and that's totally fine. I just think when you're trying to sell yourself, just sell it a bit more, and you know, it goes a long way. You know, I had old ladies coming up to me at my booth. I was in Guelph, and I had old ladies coming up to me being like, I really like your book. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And they're like, I will never read it, but I really like it. And I'm going to invest in your products when my kids are old enough. And I'm like, oh, that's great.
Sweet.
Awesome. Let's do it. You know? And I was, when I made this book, I was afraid that the opposite would happen, that I would have old people or people that would be like, get the hell out of here, you freak. Like, you're crazy. You're made a baby that's blowing people's heads up. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But no, I've had the opposite reaction, luckily, and it's been going good so far. So
that's awesome.
You know,
yeah, I love that you mentioned the 2%. I feel like I talk about that a lot just with my wife or with the collaborator or whoever, of just like, when you have someone that thinks about that extra 2%, like what's a small step or a small thing that I can do of like extra polishing, or just a, you know, lean further into the commitment of the bit or whatever it is. Like, what's that 2% look like? And the people that can identify it and then step into it are usually the ones that I'm like, yeah, cool. Here's all my money. Take it. You know, because that's, you can tell as a consumer who's putting in that extra 2% and who's just I don't want to say dialing it in,
Yeah.
but like who's just there to do the thing. And I, part of me thinks, and I'm thinking this through as I'm saying it, which can sometimes be dangerous,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think that like newer creators or creators that are only have like 1 or 2 books under their belt are the ones that are like, what else can I do? Like, how do I push this a little bit further? Because like we don't have the long standing existing, like, yeah, I've been to 47 cons and you've been to 47, you've been to 150, like who cares? It's just another, and it's like, yeah, but it shouldn't be. Like you can do something different. It's happening right now. There's a virtual creator con, virtualcreatorcon.org, where it's like totally free to attend. And I was on a panel talking about convention setups. And there were there were moderator and 2 other guests, and they had both been to differing levels of conventions. I've never tabled at an event yet. That's another goal for 2026. But I don't want to show up with just a single book. Like I want to have more than that that I can put out. But they were talking about like the malleability. How's that for malleability? That's a 6-syllable on a Sunday. But they were talking about like the malleability of their con table setup and how like, oh, this thing didn't work. So what if I change it? Or what if I do this instead? And what if I try that? It wasn't just like a, cut, copy, paste for every convention where it's constantly slightly adjusting and evolving. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to be that brain when I go into setting up for conventions, because I don't want to I never want to settle. Like I don't want anything to just be like, yeah, it's good enough. Yeah. Like I'm always trying to find ways to make the show better, do different things on social media or whatever. And so I know I'm going to be that way when I get into conventions, and even like just with writing, I'm still trying, like, I'm never going to stop learning, or reading books or talking to creators about their process to try and glean whatever I can to make my writing better. Cause I always want to be making it better. And so for me, it's like a moving goalpost, right? Of like, yeah, for this 2%, it was this thing. For the next one, it's going to be this thing. And for the next, like, it's always going to be just taking another step forward. So I love that you mentioned that. And this is a completely different tangent than anything you just talked about, but like, that's thinking about your con setup and standing out and like wearing this suit to show the respect of the craft, is like, it all matters.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. It all matters.
And I'm going to say one thing to your point is that, because you have the social media game down, like I'm always impressed with your aesthetics and everything. And it's very, and I always see things that pop up. I'm like, there's Chris, there's the long box punk. He's doing his thing. I will say, because I kind of, from my music experience, because playing in bands sucks. Like it's great. It's the best experience you'll have, but it sucks because you don't get paid. Well, you sometimes get paid, but then you're like, oh, that's just enough to like get a cab to go home after the show. You have to lug a lot of gear, really expensive gear, and hope to God that no one tries to steal it while it's in transit with you. So my big thing was, especially with Greg, because with tabling, my other beef with tabling, I'm just naming all my beefs right now. My beef with tabling is that sometimes I find that tables are overwhelming with stuff, and sometimes I'll go to a creator's table and their whole table is just covered in books. And I'm just like, I'm not going to look at any of these. Like I'll see whatever is like graphically standing out to me and look at that. But sometimes it's just overwhelming. And you're just like, there's just too many books. Like I don't know. They all look good, but I'm just going to go to the next table because there's like, a guy with a lightsaber, and that might just be a little bit easier to look at, like I find that like in the way I set up my tables, I get the smallest tables because I only have one product, but it's just that one product. And it's just, so it kind of gets people in to be like, what is this one thing you have on your table besides, like, oh, like here's my 17 books or whatever. Obviously, as I release more Gregs, I'm going to have to try and figure out ways to like go around that. But I feel if you have less on your table, or usually a minimum of 3 things. That usually, psychologically gets people too, because of that number 3. And, and so people will come over and check it. And that's just been my experiences so far. Even on I did a con a while ago, and it was like not a good con. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it, and no one showed up really. But I still got sales, and the sales were just because of the look of me. It was just people showing up to this Halloween thing, which ended up not being really a Halloween thing. And they were just like, we didn't even know there was an event, but I'm just going to buy your book because it looks cool. And, I'm just, hanging out, so, and I obviously didn't make a lot of money that weekend, but if I didn't have that display and I didn't have whatever, I'd be like some of the other people that were just not making any money and just sleeping at their table basically. Cause there was my weekend inside on a beautiful day. Right. And I think that's the other thing to think about, on top of going back to what I said about the band gear thing. The more shit you bring to the con, the more shit you have to bring to the con and take back home from the con and have to make sure. And I've watched people at Fan Expo and different things, and they have their big signs, they have their whole thing. Sometimes you just need nothing. It's just that minimalist approach of I just brought my bag and it has my stuff and I'm just going to go home with it. And I learned that trick from a DJ who spins vinyl, and he was like, I just show up with my crate and I just make sure the record player is there, and I just show up with my little crate, my little buggy, and I just do my thing. Then I just put it all back in and go home. And
That's awesome.
I don't have to deal with anything. I can take the subway. I can do whatever. And that's what I do. I got a little suitcase. I put everything in my little suitcase, everything from the dollar store. I just bought, pink sheet from the dollar store, bought a couple of display things from the dollar store, just scraped off the thing, and then it's all good. And then, you just put it on the table and you're like, hey guys, let's do it, and it's gone well so far. So I think people sometimes get stuck with the idea, and I don't want people to see this and take away and be like, oh, he has a suit on and I can't afford a suit. No, just go to the dollar store. And this suit is not I'm not saying get a suit, but you do want to get extra dressed up and jazzed up. A lot of this stuff isn't super, this is $100 suit. I have to hit the seams every time I go to an event because it's falling apart as I'm wearing it. So, I'm not trying to break the bank, because I know it's going to be in transit. It's going to get lost. It's going to get a stain on it. Someone's going to throw up on me, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But if it gets wrecked, it's not the end of the world, because I can just go get another one somewhere. That's cheap, right? So that's just my little speech on that. But
that's awesome. I had never even thought about the dollar store. My daughter just got an apartment and she moves in 2 weeks, and I was telling her hey, go to the dollar store, because they've got if you need cheap cups, they got cheap, who cares? It's a plastic cup, right? Just you're gonna need to drink out of something, and you don't have any cups right now. So go to the dollar store and buy some cups, buy some plates. They've got all sorts of shit there that a starting out 19-year-old is gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
Do that. But then for me, I can't think for me, oh yeah, go to the dollar store, idiot. So I literally wrote down dollar store for table setup, and
it's the greatest, because the thing is too, I've made things, even my wedding with my wife, we went to the dollars, we got really cheap dollar store flowers that were fake, and people thought they were real. We just got some jars with lights in it. Dollar store, okay, cool, that saved me $7,000 on whatever some person was going to sell me from probably getting it at the dollar store. So it's a lot of rich people shop at the dollar store. They just don't tell you that they shop at the dollar store. That's the other secret of it. They just
what was the postcards? Is that Post Secret, where people write secrets on postcards and mail them to the thing, and then they get posted? There was one that stuck with me that the guy said, I'm the CEO of a Fortune 100 company, and I still make my collar saves out of cardboard at home, instead of buying and I was just huh. So even super rich people are still doing, just easy to do things. And I love what Gary's saying here too. He's got a very lean table, other vendors with elaborate setups. Look at his lean table with envy. set yourself free. And it's like the idea of less is more is another one of those things that you hear about all the time, but until you think of it in a framework that makes sense for you, it's suddenly like, as you were saying that the like, yeah, 3 products like that, why do more?
Yeah.
I was just like, God, that's less is more. Like having less forces people to be like, this person's here with a book. Like, what is that book? How is that person here with a book? Like, what is it about that thing that that person's selling? And now suddenly they're drawn in
Yep.
instead of just because there were like, I just went to all of the cons near me all just happened in like a 3-week time frame. And one of the artists I vividly remember seeing, and he had the like super tall, like the frame pipework stuff, and then the metal links that connect all of his posters. And the artwork was impressive if I knew what I was looking at, because there were so many.
Yeah.
And like it was the whole wall behind him, and he was in a corner. So 2 walls of this stuff, and then all over the table. And then he had, I think, one of his artwork on his shirt. So like even he started to blend in. And I was just like, that's too much. I can't even go over, and I don't even know where to start looking at that. Like okay.
Yeah, just pick 3 things, and then you can still have your book filled with posters or prints or whatever. And then once you have those people coming to you, the other thing too, I was going to say this because there's a lot of people that have like anxiety or, just have like, disabilities or mental health issues or whatever that, I go to the fan expo out here in Canada, so out in Toronto, and like sometimes in like the artist alleys, like there is no room to walk. Like they have you crammed in, there's no space, and then you're stuck in these vendor laneways with those type of setups, and you're just like, get me the hell out of here. Like I do not want to be, I'm not going to look at anything, I'm not going to shop on anything, I'm just going to go back to wherever there's space for me to just kind of hang out. Because like things like, I love going to mosh pits, I love being in gritty, dirty, pushing people and stuff, but at Comic-Con where you're like, if I just touch something, it's going to break. Like, I don't like, I don't want to break someone's stuff or like have an issue, or like someone might have an issue or have a health problem. I think it for health and safety reasons too, it just helps give that space, because then people have that breathing room to be like, oh, I'm at a table where I can just like be here and like moment, and not have to worry about being pushed and shoved and like, having to wait for some guy that's standing there looking at 17 posters or whatever, or having a conversation with someone that's now blocking the way. You've got a little, way of being, hey, you want to just stand in this one little spot here with me and talk about the comic? Let's do it, So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the con anxiety is super real too. Like I don't know when it started for me, but because I used to be like, let's go to a party and 8 million people and everything's wonderful. And now I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Like, there are too many people. And so when we like the main convention center downtown Cincinnati is being renovated completely, which thank God. But also that means that our big expo is happening in the smaller convention center, and it's all disjointed and there's stuff everywhere. And so walking through the floor, it can definitely get like, oh, okay, I'm touching people on both sides and I'm taking up as little space as possible and I can't go anywhere. And so it was like, there were a few times a couple weekends ago when we were there that I just like grabbed my wife's hand and squeezed, and she knows like, okay, I'm just going to follow you. And so I like grabbed her and pulled her to like a loading dock area or whatever that was off to the side. I was like, sorry, I just needed to breathe. There was no space and I was freaking out. And she was like, you're good. And so we would just stand there and talk, and then I would relax and be like, okay, screw that aisle. We're going to go over here and look in that one, because it just gets to be too much. And I love that the con that I'm on, the like actual team that's putting it together, we've got like a quiet freak out room where like, if you're overstimulated, you can go there. It's actually sponsored by the public library, which is super great, because they have a librarian in there with some books and stuff. And she's just like super calm, super quiet. And you can just go in there to just desensitize and then be like, okay, cool. Like everything's calm. We're good. And it just like, it is one of those things that I wish more conventions were aware of,
Yeah.
because like it's super real. You're putting non-social people a lot of times, like creating and reading comics is very isolating. Even though it's super popular now,
Yeah.
it still isn't like a thing that a lot of people feel confident enough to wear on their sleeve.
Yeah.
And so you put all of those people into the same room, and you've got cosplay people, and you've got like, that adds a whole separate thing. Because then I kind of love watching the like weird interactions of people that are both cosplaying from like the same show or anime or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, can we get I like your, can we, and it's like, just take the picture together. Like you both want the picture, everybody knows it.
It's really cute though. It's fine. I
Yeah.
love seeing that too. And you're just like, or just people that are really like, oh my god, it's so and so from that thing. Let's do this. And you're like, okay, nice. But also though, like that stimulation for some people though might just like, you know, be like, holy, that's so loud. Like, oh my god, like, you know.
Mhm.
And that's just yeah, like you said, like it's something that convention people should take into consideration, but it's something also as booth people we should also take into consideration, because you know, it's, even though we want to sell stuff and we might have a lot of stuff to sell, selling, we can still have all of our stuff to sell. Let's just put the best stuff out and then bring them in with that. And if that's not bringing in people, then you might have this question like why that's not selling, and trying to figure out a way to like go from there and be like, hey, maybe I need to change something here. Because I don't know, I love watching Kitchen Nightmares and you know, Hotel Ramsey or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the number one thing I've learned from all those shows, and it's helped me with like managing animation and other things like that, is just like you just got to go to like the bare bones of the problem, and you just talk to everybody, get people's thoughts, and just kind of break it down to the point where you're like, okay, so like X, Y, and Z is why this is not working now, and now we have to fix that. And once we fix that, hopefully that will change it. And if not, then we'll have to rejig and figure out what else is the issue. You know, just trial and error. But it does help. It does help. Just keeping things simple too, because like, why would you want to carry all that stuff?
So I had posted, I think it was on Friday or something, like, hey, if you table at conventions, what's your setup like? You know, what do you bring with you? Like, if you got pictures, cool. If you just want to talk through it, that's fine too. Just because like it's something that, you know, with the virtual con panel that I did, that got me thinking about it. And I've got some ideas, but I don't want to be too much, because I'm one that like, I'm an all or nothing person, and I can tend to go too far in the all category sometimes. And so I don't want to like, oh, I'm going to have this thing and build this stuff and it's going to be insane. And then like, there's my comic, right? Like but I also don't want to just like have a black tablecloth with like this single issue on the entire table and be like, there's my book.
Yeah.
Like I want to have a little bit more. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say the one thing I've done, because I only have one book right now. What I've done is, I wish I had a photo and I had it with me. I put like not arrows pointing to it, but if you have like any reviews or like anything that like are like positive things, I have those like pointing in on it. So then when people come by, they say, oh, it would, you know, Chris from Longbox Punk said this about Greg, or, you know, this person said this about Greg, or, you know, this, whatever. Then they start like, they go, okay, so this is legitimate. This like this holy grail book here, like that's like, you know, and it's a little spotlight here, whatever, you know, it's there's a reason why this book, I need to look at it and understand it better, you know, and it pulls people in. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you though.
No, you're good. It's gone. Whatever I was saying is, oh no, it's not. Here it is. One of the people responded of like, I only carry in what I'm willing to carry out. And I was like, ooh, that's good. Like, that's a good line. Because then thinking about helping vendors and stuff load in at the con that I worked in September, you know, some of them were similar to you, where they had the single suitcase or the little rolly cart thing. And then when I worked the Zine Fest just like 3 weeks ago, there was a guy that he was like, hey, can I like park here to unload my stuff? I'm like, yeah. Do you need help? He's no, I got it. And he made like 4 trips in and out to his table, and I was like, God, that's a lot of stuff, dude. And like, I ended up finding him later, and he had half a table,
Jeez.
and I was like, God, dude, how did you fit all this stuff on this half table? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so that was another one of those, like, that's probably too much. Like, he just like, I get that you've got a lot of stuff and that you want to sell the stuff, because if you're not selling it, it's probably just stagnant sitting, I don't know, like on the office floor behind you all the time, like mine is. But like, you can only have so much inventory on hand, whatever. But then it's, I don't know, it seems like a thing that the more I think about it, the more ideas I have about it, and I don't know if any of them are the right ideas. So then I keep thinking about it, and then I go down the rabbit holes of like, table setups, and I'm taking notes of every table that I look at a convention. Like, why did I go to that table and not this table? And then I overanalyze all the things, and then my wife is like, so are we going to go to dinner or not? I'm like, oh, right. No, we were completely not even talking about that.
My wife does that too. She's like, we're going out for a nice walk with our son. Like, can we just talk about comics or like business of comic books?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. That makes sense.
Sure, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. How do you balance being a new dad with the comic aspect and also music? Cause you're still doing the music. Like, how are you balancing all of that?
So music's kind of on hold.
Okay.
So like music has been on hold since the pandemic, because like we came out with this like new project and we're like, oh, it's gonna be sick, let's do it. Like we were planning like a album 7-inch release party, and then when the pandemic hit, it was like, okay. And our saxophone player was actually like, I'm gonna say this wrong, he was like a coordinator for the hospital.
Okay.
And so like once COVID hit, he was like, I'm never going to see you again, bye. And we're like, oh shit. And then my wife got Graves' disease, so she became very immunocompromised. So we couldn't like really go out to jam spaces or anything, because everything was just like disgusting.
Yeah.
Usually. And so it's like, okay, well, if we can't get COVID, she can't get COVID right now. Like, she needs to get her stuff in gear. So during that time was when I started working on Greg, because I was like, well, I'm creating music, I'm trying to do stuff, and I have it in my head all the time, but I need to do something with my time. I always need to have at least one project to keep me sane, and that was it. So my wife's been very helpful, and my mother-in-law's been very helpful with helping make sure our baby's okay when I'm out at a convention or whatever. But basically, I just do everything at night. I try to do everything at night, or when I have time, and it either gets done or it doesn't get done, and I just stress out and find a way to do it as soon as I can. But
yeah. It's that good old burning. People are like, oh, so you're burning the candle at both ends. I'm like, I don't have two ends. Like, I'm burning at the ends, in the middle, like a third of the way through the candle, like whatever time I can make to do whatever. Because the other thing for me is I'm not always motivated at 10 o'clock at night to suddenly feel super creative. Like, I might have had a shit day at work, and I get home and I'm just like, I just am physically and mentally drained. Like, I just want to pass out and do nothing. And there's nights that I come home and I'll tell my wife, like, listen, I'm a vegetable to, like, I can't do anything. She's like, okay, I'll just put something on, and if you want to read. If you don't just want to stare at your phone, that's fine too. And I'm like, cool, I love you. So it's like it is difficult. And I love that, like, I used to think that you could find a balance, because it doesn't feel like there's ever going to be a balance. It's just like, it's more balancing priorities, not time. Like, oh, well, I really want to focus on this thing. And so I'm going to make time for this thing for the next week until I have that thing done or whatever. And then I'm going to balance priorities because I really want to catch up on this show. And like, that's how I have started framing when I think about stuff like that. Because similarly, like, I'm like, oh, I got the show and I want to read comics, and I have a shelf to read comics because it's out of control. But it's like, yeah, but I can't do that because like I want to make my own comics, but then I can't do that all the time because I got to be a husband, and like there's stuff that we want to do because we love fall, and so we want to go to festivals and we want to do all that stuff. And then like, oh well, there's a local punk show happening today at a brewery. That sounds dope. I want to go. And then I get to that day today, by the way, and I'm like, I'm not going to go to that. Like I just don't have it in me today to do that. So okay, I'll miss this one and probably the next one, whatever. And it just like, it's always making choices that no one ever prepared me for. Like you think about adults and it's like, oh, they have their shit together. They're adults. They're doing the thing. And now that I'm here, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Wait, did my parents feel this way?
I find like, so I think about my parents, like older people, and I find a lot of them, some of them obviously are doing what we do, or did what we did. But I feel they also like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but I basically, I just feel that it's like being Peter Parker / Spider-Man. It's like, I'm either going to be the hero tonight, or I got to be Peter Parker and I got to do my thing,
Yeah.
and I've wasted so much money on concert tickets, and now concert tickets are way too expensive on top of that. And like, it just like hurts the bank. I think I was telling you about the System of a Down show I had tickets to, and I was like, my son's got to get his vaccines, and I have a podcast I got to do that day. I'm sorry, friend, that I bought these tickets with, but like, you're going solo, and like, I'm not driving into Toronto 2 hours to like go to the show and stand around for 7 hours, and then driving out 2 hours back.
Deal with all the sweaty people and
My wife alone with the baby, who's just like, I just got these vaccines and I'm pissed off and like tired or whatever. What could have happened? Like the what if is like, I don't want to deal with the what if. I just want to deal with the path of least resistance at this stage in my life. Because if I if a wrench gets thrown in somewhere, like it's game over. So
I find that I am a chronoptimist, where I'm like, oh, it's only going to take me 20 minutes to get there. And then I'm like, yeah, but if if the dog needs to be let out beforehand, or if I hit that train and the train is going, then I'm stuck at the train tracks, and then suddenly I'm going to be late. And if I'm late, then I'm upset and I get stressed out because I hate being late somewhere. And it just like, that's my hell, is sitting in traffic, like stop and go traffic, being 5 minutes late. Like that is my hell. And I know it, and it just is the worst. So I love being salary now, because if I'm 5 minutes late getting to work, then okay, like it's fine.
When I lived in Toronto, I still live close to Toronto, but when I grew up in Toronto, and this was before like the TTC, our transportation system was as bad as it is right now. But I used to just run everywhere. And like, I would just sprint, and I was like in high school. So I was like in shape. So I was like, I'm just going to run to this location, and I'll get there I might be a bit sweaty and I might smell bad, but like, I'll get there on time. And like, I don't have to worry about if there's any delay, it's on me. So like, I would just run everywhere. And like, now, like I look at people, I'm just like, you might as well just walk. Like it's fast to just walk. You get the exercise in, you're still going to be late. So like, you might as well, be late. Like you might just be less late than you would if you took like the transit system or whatever. So unless it's like snowing or like it's bad weather, then I understand. But like,
sure.
But global warming, we don't have snow anymore. Like what is this?
Yeah, it's gonna be 75 in January. Who cares? Like whatever. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about is actually something that came up before we came live, and that's like planning for the unknowable things. So you had mentioned like the Greg Kickstarter was successful. Everything went, you hit the funding, you did all this stuff, but there were all of those little things that you didn't know until you got into it. And even with like conventions, that's why I think I'm talking about them so much, is because I heavily plan on signing up for some next year. And so I'm like, what are the unknowable things before I get there that I can learn now, so that I'm prepared, so that I don't show up and I'm like, ah, crap, I don't have a bottle of water. Like, what am I going to drink all day? Like, oh God, I don't have any snacks. Do they have any jerky I can have? Like, how am I going to get through? So like, what are as you've been creating and as you're going into like creating more of the Greg saga, what are things that you learned from this first issue and this Kickstarter that you're going to take with you going forward?
Totally. I'm probably not going to do another Kickstarter. I enjoyed the process, but getting like the hustle of trying to get people to buy stuff or you don't get the money was very stressful. Like, and I always know like, oh, okay, this is like the thing that you do for Kickstarter, but like it got to those final days and I was like, we are so close to making it that like if I'm off by like $1, I'm not going to make this money. Like this is insane. Like, so that was really stressful. There was Kickstarter's weird. They have so many videos and so many like terminology things that like I don't have time for that, and I don't want to read about it. Like I just want to like I love Bandcamp. You go on Bandcamp, you post your thing, it's there. You can look at it, you can hear it, and then you can buy it. And if not, then that's that. You don't need to make an account to buy. That was the biggest thing too. Having people have to make a Kickstarter account to purchase or pledge to my goal, like that drove a lot of people I got pledges from to go crazy, or they'd be like, listen, I'm just going to give this person money and they're just going to buy it for me because like I don't want, and also I understand because a lot of people don't want to have like more accounts than they need and all that jazz. And that was the number one. Number two was learning that I couldn't update pictures after someone had purchased. So I was waiting to post more nice pictures of my products, but I wanted to launch the Kickstarter. So I did. And I was like, pictures coming soon. Like as I have these things in hand, I will post them. And people bought them because they've already seen them on Instagram or whatever. And then I would go to upload my picture, that my beautiful, nice picture I just spent tons of time trying to make. And then Kickstarter's like, well, someone already bought it, so you can't post the picture now because like they're it's this now. It's nothing. Like this product is nothing. Otherwise, you're ripping them off. And it was just like, how am I like? I just want other people to So that was another issue. What else was there? Oh, the late pledges. That was very confusing. Some people get like extra time. Mine for some reason got 3 days, and I thought I had more time. So I was like, I think I have more time. And I was telling people like, we got more time after this. Like we already made it. It's fine. And then it was like the next day, and it was just like, oh, okay, I guess we don't. All right, well, I gotta get my web store up. And shipping was the biggest hurdle because of the whole tariff situation and everything. So and I saw a lot of people struggling with that, like selling comics in general that are like more successful than me and stuff. And I learned that that sucks. And I learned that Kickstarter also, if you do like, I want to like do my charge later for it, you have to like not have certain things clicked or something in the thing. I think there's like a VAT system or something, which was also confusing because I play Fallout and I love like the VATs, like trying to like, I'm going to shoot him in the arm or the head. And so every time I saw it, I was like, VATs, like I'm not playing that. I'm not playing And it's like, you could like charge taxes or whatever. And I found, tax was the other thing because in Ontario, Canada, you don't have to pay tax as a business or whatever unless you make over like I think 30,000. So like it was like I started like picking things, being like, I guess I have to charge tax or whatever. And then I was like, I don't have to charge tax, so that would be easier to do, and I would like undo it. But then it was like because I clicked it, now I can't do the shipping thing for some reason. It was like like the hip bone's connected to the or whatever, and it's just like, how does this makes no sense. So that was my experience with Kickstarter, and I've had people ask me if I was going to do it again, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a web store, and like I'll just put pre-orders on there, and if people want to buy it, they can just buy it, and then I don't have to worry about like, oh god, I don't have the money, or oh god, I just lost whatever. Biggest issue I had. This is my beef conversation with Chris. Problem with this, they give you a suggested amount to charge because they're like, we're going to charge you fees and then there's taxes, but we're not going to tell you the range that we're going to take off. It's going to be like a a scale range. So if you make a lot of money, we're probably going to take more. But if you make a little bit of money, we'll just take a little bit. And it was like, okay. And so I took their advice, but then like, because I only wanted to do like 3,000, and I was like a Canadian, so that's like probably like 2,500 or something US.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do a lot. Like I want to make it easy. This is my first kick, which was also massive stress because I was like, how am I going to have $4,500, like, so that was annoying because I hit the goal I wanted to, and then I was like, but I still now have to do another 1,000. Like,
Yeah.
oh, God, and it sucks. And like, I luckily had like the print shop that I do my prints at is also a comic book shop, and they always
Okay.
do Kickstarter, so they were like giving me advice and helping me and be like, listen, we're gonna like shoot it out to our people and whatever. And I had other people sharing it, which is very nice of everybody, and is very supportive because I don't like asking people for money. I just like selling people products.
Yeah.
That's like what I'm more comfortable doing than I am being like, please, please support me.
Please, sir, might you have $1? Yeah.
Please support my art comic of people's heads exploding, please. So yeah, but it worked. People liked it. People were very generous and very helpful with supporting us. So thank everybody if you're listening. But yeah, Kickstarter, I did a little survey thing at the end because I couldn't do my pledge thing, whatever, my shipping. So it was like, you had to do a survey, which also was annoying because then I had to tell everyone, sorry guys, they don't give me your address unless I send out this survey. Can you please just fill out this survey, please? Sorry, I've already asked like a million things of you already. Just do one more so that I can have your personal information so can Kickstarter. Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was annoying. And then I just had my thing like, do you want me to do another Kickstarter, or do you just want to buy from my web store? And like 100% was like web store. Just
Web store.
yeah. I was like, okay, cool. That works for me. I don't want to. And they took a huge amount. So that basically that extra 1,000 or whatever I got my Kickstarter to, Kickstarter took that amount. So it was like they took like 500 and something. And
That's
I was
crazy.
like, so what did you guys do? Like, I just used your platform for 2 seconds. Like, it would make sense if like you took $100 or like took a little bit. Like, fine, I get it. But like the fact that like customer support then takes like 2 weeks to get back to you too. And then the other thing, oh, this is a big one because I almost got tricked, was you'll launch your Kickstarter and then all of a sudden you start getting messages from support being like, hey, like, we congratulations on launching your thing. Like we have this thing or that, and it's so confusing because it has the banner of Kickstart, like the support thing.
Yeah.
But it's actually just random people
Yeah.
trying to steal your info or like get you to commit. Because like when I launched, I got an email immediately. I was like, hey, we've been looking at your project for a really long time, and we want to put it on the cover of our Kickstarter page because we think it's awesome. You should just like give me a call, like go to this link and blah blah blah. And I was like, I just launched this. Like, how did you see it? Like, unless you were like creeping like through cyberspace somehow and looking at my thing, like, how does this work? And yeah, that's like the biggest thing that I had issues with too. Cause I was like, if I wasn't like, knowledgeable in the web or cybersecurity or whatever, someone would think like, oh, let's click this link, let's whatever. And now you're out money on top of trying to ask for money. And like, I don't know why it's not a thing that, because Kickstarter's been around for like 15 years and it's like, these are really easy things to fix nowadays. And like, I'm not a big fan of AI, but like there's AI tools that can just fix your shit so you don't have to pay like a bajillion dollars to reconfigure your application or whatever. Like these are just basic things that I'm sure a million other people. And I got worried when I was doing the start of the Kickstarter because all of a sudden I had people reaching out to me being like, hey, I got a book on how to do a Kickstarter. Or I was on the USDN podcast and he was like, hey, I got this like a friend who like made this book for like Kickstarters and you should really read it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll check it out. And I was like, why do I need a book on Kickstarter? Like this is like, And then after I was like, oh shit, I really should have read that. Like that was,
now I get it.
like it's easy, but just really time consuming. You really have to read things. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna click the buttons. And I did it and it didn't work that well. But that's like I feel just anything that you put out in the world needs to be like idiot proof. And even if you own a bar, like I had a venue that I was running with my wife for a little while. It was like a secret venue out of our like apartment. So we had like bands coming to our apartment to like do shows from like American artists and other stuff, and like international touring artists. So like record labels would be like, hey, can we like have a show at your place? And we'd be like, okay, cool. And they're like, we're sending like this band, and then all of a sudden they'd have like famous people showing up in this like little apartment to like see these like big bands, and it was like, it was the weirdest. It was awesome, but it was also like really like surreal because it was like, it's just a little room, like just like not little, but it was just like it was the guy that owned the building before it got bought out by the guy that we were leasing from. I guess his son, they built a house on top of a building. So it was like an open concept loft, but it was like a house. So it was like, it was weird. It was weird and cool, but it was also in this like old clock tower building. So it was like where they used to build clocks and stuff. I don't know, but it was cool. And so we were like, well, we're just gonna get bands to come play here. And then the building started falling apart. And then we had like one neighbor who like, and they wouldn't tell me which person was having an issue that was like calling noise complaints or whatever. And I was like, I'm just going to do this old school. So I went door to door, like around the neighborhood, and being like, hi, I'm the guy making noise over there. Like, do you have an issue? And I found the guy, and he ended up being like a punk rock guy. And like, he seemed like really, he's like, I'm in a band and I have a soundproof house and blah, blah, blah. He's like, you're keeping my kid up. Like, you're really disturbing my family and whatever. And I was like, oh, because like I would talk to like older ladies and like young people that were like living next door, and like, oh yeah, we just close our window, we don't hear anything, but like, you know, whatever. And I was like, I think he was just like really angry or whatever for, you know, might have had that like musical thing where it was like, you wish you were playing still, or like you wish you were still doing the dream, but now you're like stuck and you're older now and like you're just a curmudgeon and whatever. And because I invited them, I was like, you guys can come hang out, like, or just tell me, like, and I was really nice about it, even though he was being a total dick to me. But I was like, you just tell me when you want us to do a show. Like, you tell me when you're free and what a good time frame is, because like weekends are always good for us, because then we can just do it and you don't have to worry about work in the morning, and you know, you can go out with your family, you know, we can rearrange the time. We can start it early and end at a normal time, and then those people can go out and do their extra partying someplace else. He's like, never, I don't want any of that. And I was like, okay, cool, man, cool. So we just kept doing it, and we soundproofed a little bit because it was not soundproofed properly. Which was a mission, like literally the week of our first show there. And I was like, oh, great, because we had bands practicing there too and stuff, and our band practiced there as well, and yeah, but it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how I got on this tangent, but yeah, you know,
here we are.
Yeah. It was an experience, and it was fun. So
that's great. I mean, that's what life is about, is having stuff like that. We're like, yeah, it was fun, and we did the thing, and then it got weird, and it was hard, and whatever, and like, yeah.
It's like art, you know. You just got to take the risk, and you know, apply yourself, and you know, you're gonna burn some cash, maybe, if it's a really silly idea or a crazy idea, like running a venue and on top of a building and a house, and you know, whatever. Yeah. But you know, we also needed a place to live, so it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, how do we like supplement the cost of living? Well, we can just throw concerts. So we'd work full time, and then we'd have like industrial like stadium equipment, being like having to like be like, I got to go on my lunch break. I'm gonna go like lug all this gear and set up lights and all this stuff, and then basically we moved all of our furniture into our bedroom every show. So it would be like literally like moving every time we had an event. And it was just like, this is a bit too much, but it was fun. We had a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Our cat had a great time. Everyone had a great time.
Yeah, I bet your cat was thrilled that you were throwing shows.
She was pretty upset about it, actually, but she like after this, she'd hang out with us after the shows and stuff with the bands and people. Yeah, you know, she was like, "Yo, you guys suck." Like, yeah, all right.
That's awesome. Well, I don't have any more official notes, but I have two more things that I want to do. The first is we're going to pose, and I'm going to take a screenshot, use that as the YouTube thumbnail. I thought because Greg is really, really ridiculously good looking, Zoolander just keeps coming up, and you know, I did the Zoolander face for the review, so I kind of want to do the Zoolander face with you as well. So let me get my shortcut here. All right, I got to do the turn too. I'm a big Zoolander fan. It's one.
I'll do with it.
All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1. Perfect. The other thing is what I warned you about ahead of time. And
Yes.
I love doing this show because I talk to people that are all over with all sorts of different experiences and events that brought them into the one similarity that we tend to share, and that's comic books. And so to lean into the just uniqueness of every creator that I have on, I like ending every episode with just like, I stop talking and I turn the mic over to you. So if there's anything you want people to hear from you, it could be a sales pitch for Greg. It could be that your pink suit is better than anybody else's suit that they will ever see at any comic expo ever. The content doesn't matter at all to me. I just want to make sure that you've got some space to share your voice with whatever message you want people to hear. So take it away, Duke.
Cool. Well, thanks, Chris. So yeah, I got our web store that I just launched for Greg, issue 0, the Delivery Room Massacre. I highly recommend checking it out. We got a preview on our website. So the website is www.gregcomicofficial.com, and our web store is on there. You can get a preview of Greg. So that one that Chris has there, that's the Ash Can edition. We have like 11 of those left, and once they're gone, they're gone. We have these ones too, which are the first edition print with the Duke Electric signature, and it's at the bottom, and it comes with a print on the back that's also signed. The only difference is instead of Chris's where it says disability, it just says condition, because I had to talk with my wife and we're like, you know what, it's not really a disability, it's a condition. So we edited that. So if you get the Ash Can, you can get the rarer print. There's only 100 of those, where there's 250 of these bad boys. We also launched the Bad Economy edition. So they're tiny versions of Greg. They're very small. I can compare it to the actual comic size here. So they're very tiny. They fit in a pocket. I've tried this on another podcast I did, and I didn't actually realize that they fit in a suit pocket. So you can put it here, protect yourself. I'm not going to say it's bulletproof, but you never know. And yeah, you can take it on the go. You can put it in your pant pocket. I'm pretty sure it works. I'll do it on air just to prove to everyone here if you could fit it in the pocket. And you can't, look at that. Put it right in your pocket.
Outstanding.
It's cheaper. It comes with a download code in the back. This one also comes with a download code. And it also comes with a flyer that is like a community Greg flyer of an in-world flyer magazine thing, classified ad. So you get to support some cool music, some cool folks. You get to support the project. You get to support me, so I can keep fixing my pink suit when I go out and about. And yeah, we also have some prints on there. We have like a random commission thing. So if you want like a really weird picture or art from me, I'll do something cool. And yeah, and right now we're just working on the next issue of Greg, issue number 1, Legendary Knights. That'll hopefully be out in March or April. And yeah, I would say follow me on Instagram, gregcomicofficial.com. Nerd in the Sky is our other our little label that we use for everything, so you can follow us there too. And yeah, and if you want, I would say support your local comic book shop, support your friends and your family that are trying to be creative, and help those out in the industry that need help, because it's a big industry, but it's a small industry at the same time. So helping someone might help you in the long run. I'll give a shout out to Lucky Devil Comics. They're doing a Kickstarter right now for a book called The Plague #1. It looks pretty sick. I already backed it, so I definitely recommend, if you have a few shekels, just throw it at them and check it out. And yeah, and check out the Long Box Punk. Keep things punk, and because comics are punk, and there's no rules in the world of comics, because that's what makes it punk rock. So
Right.
don't fall for these fascist ideas of structure and keeping things in the boxes. Just break free and run wild. And if it causes an issue, just make it digital, and then or just make another version. Just say we ran out of pages.
Yeah.
We'll print more if we can. Create it, interpret it, dance it. I don't know. There needs to be more creativity in the world of comics. So break the mold.
Absolutely. I love all of that. I've got the link for the website below. I've got the Greg Comic Official, and I believe I've also got the Nerd in the Sky social media handles in the description below as well. There's a couple links in there for me if you want to go to my Substack. That's where I'm really going to be pushing a lot of my social media, is there to just minimize, because there's too much noise in my life, and a lot of it's coming from social media. So I'm migrating almost exclusively to Substack
And it's healthy.
going forward. So yeah, like, it's so supportive. It's great. There's no ads yet that I've come across that I remember seeing, and like, the engagement's insane. It's insane. I'm getting more there than anywhere else. I'm posting the same stuff.
Wow.
So that's where you'll find me. You can buy some merch if you want to. You can get a hold of me. We don't have a web store. I haven't set that up yet. I have a coffee now, though. Is that how you say it? Ko-fi coffee? I don't know. Whatever, but you can go to there. Just search Longbox Punk. I don't have anything set up. I don't know why I'm telling anybody about it right now, because it's it's active, but it's not set up at all for anything. But that's where I think eventually I'll set up, where you can buy Barricade Brigade from me on my coffee. I don't know why I just told anybody about it. Now I got to figure that out tonight. But yeah, dude, Duke Electric, my man, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm glad that at long last we were able to connect.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks again for sharing Greg with me. It's like, I knew exactly where it was when I was getting ready and prepping for the show. Like, I have to have my copy because I got to show it off. But yeah, I'm stoked. I love seeing the back pages of the story is going to continue. I'm really excited to see him get into the pro wrestling world, because I love pro wrestling too. So thanks for hanging out with me, Duke Electric. This has been real. For everybody else, hang tight. I got logistics for you after I end this, but for everybody else watching, thanks for tuning in. Gary, it's always good to see you in the chat, and I will, I'll keep doing Longbox Punk stuff out tomorrow, Monday. But next Sunday, I'll be back with a brand new shiny episode of Longbox Punk. And until then, go do what's good for you, punk, and read some indie comics, because they're good for you. And we are out of here.